The entities that control the human society today are fallen angels. Now, the first thing that runs to the minds of most people when they hear fallen angels is conspiracy theory. Fallen angels are nothing but higher dimensional entities that deviated from the original blueprint of creation at some point in their evolution. The existence of multiple dimensions across the universe is no secret today. Even modern science has proven this in many ways. Einstein's theory talked about at least 12 dimensions. So the existence of multiple dimensions across the cosmos is very common knowledge today. All of these dimensions hold life in different forms. The third dimension, which is the human realm, is the dimension where life has found manifestation in a more physical form. Now, there are entities and life forms in higher dimensions that chose to deviate from the original blueprint of creation at some point in their evolution. These are the entities that are commonly known today as the fallen angelic races, or the fallen angels in simple. These entities exist in different forms across the universe. The most common ones known to humans today being the reptilian races from the Draco constellation, the Alpha Draconian reptilian races. These are malicious alien races that have hijacked the human society and keep it under their control for a very long period of time. And their primary tool of control is the false matrix. Now, what is the false matrix? The false matrix is the system designed by these fallen angels to interrupt the natural evolution of life in the third dimension, which then interferes with the natural evolution of life across the universe. It is a system that creates illusions and distortions in the human society by exploiting the original medium that was put in place by the original architect of the universe. The false matrix is primarily executed in the fourth dimension, and it encompasses multiple activities in the third dimension, which accounts for the physical aspects of the system, and many other mediums of interaction between the fourth and the third dimension, which we humans may refer to as demonic activities. Now, how are these entities able to control the human society using the false matrix? Well, the answer to that question is very simple. Although most of the processes may seem totally out of reach for most humans right now, these entities are taking advantage of their fourth dimensional capabilities and other mediums of interdimensional interactions to create illusions and distortions in the human society. Some of these abilities include higher levels of perception. Because these entities exist in the higher dimension, they're able to perceive what you know as your past, present, and future, which essentially are parallel timelines that exist simultaneously. So they're able to perceive them from right this moment. This is how they're able to track your location no matter where you go, even if you travel across nations. Now they're taking these abilities and combining them with other mediums of interdimensional interactions, such as your dream states and other portals that allows them to influence the third dimension, and using them to constantly perform weird activities that bend your perception of reality. This is how they're able to influence other third dimensional creatures, such as animals, or even humans that are of a lower intelligence to constantly harass you. So essentially, they have the ability to know what you're going to be doing in the future, even though that may sound impossible to you. This is how they're able to place the same objects, such as motorcycles and vehicles, in your path over and over again. This is how they're able to influence low vibrational humans in the corporate system, the government, the media, and other institutions, including security institutions, to constantly harass and torment the target. Now, these abilities aren't exclusive to these entities. These are abilities that are part of the original architecture of creation, so they're available to every life form across the universe. But you see, as I've mentioned earlier, these entities have deviated from the original architecture of creation. So instead of using these abilities to support the natural evolution of life, they use them to obstruct the natural processes of creation. These entities understand universal and spiritual laws, so they know that they cannot impose these activities on humans, because that's going to be violating universal laws. So to honor the laws of the universe, they not only deceive you into accepting these activities, so now you are choosing with your own free will to participate in them, but also they show you these things before doing them. If you watch the movie The Matrix, you will realize that they used that movie to show you everything they're doing to you in the gang stalking attack. As I've mentioned in previous videos, The character Agent Smith in the movie is a representation of the fallen angels and the tricks they are using to manipulate these low vibrational humans to gangstalk you. The people that Agent Smith is using to execute his mission, those random people that he just possesses at will, uses them to do whatever he wants them to do, and then leaves their bodies whenever he's done using them. Those are the people that we're referring to as gangstalkers in real life. These are humans that are of a lower intelligence that are being used by these fallen angels to gangstalk you. And the fact that Agent Smith can just use them at will is a depiction of their unconscious nature. Now, the people that Agent Smith and his team are constantly harassing in the movie, which includes Neo, Morpheus, and the other guys that have broken the illusion, are the characters that are used in the movie to represent the target of a gang stalking attack. Now, what can you do as a target? Well, the only way to defeat a spiritual attack is to evolve beyond the attack. The reason they're able to manipulate you is because you do not have the ability to perceive the illusion. As I've mentioned earlier in this video, the false matrix is primarily hosted in the fourth dimension, so it cannot be perceived in 3D consciousness. It definitely also cannot be perceived in 4D consciousness, because in 4D consciousness, you still exist within the false matrix. Think of it like this. If you want to get the most accurate view of the structure of a building, is it possible to remain inside of the building and get that view? No. You have to look at the building from a higher perspective, a bird's eye view, if you may. So, as long as you're in 4D consciousness, you're never going to be able to fully perceive the false matrix. You have to evolve into 5D consciousness. That's the only way you're going to be able to zoom in and look at the system from a higher perspective.